That's Jim O'Rear's Wacky World.
Welcome, my spooky little thrill seekers, to another episode of Jim O'Rear's Wacky World, where history meets horror and common sense takes a permanent vacation. Today, we're in the charming, ghost-whispering town of Cassadaga, Florida, the psychic capital of the South, to talk about a cemetery so haunted, even the dead file noise complaints. Yeah, we're visiting the infamous Lake Helen Cassadaga Cemetery, home of the legendary Devil's Chair. Now, if you've never heard of the Devil's Chair, congratulations. Your life has probably been filled with more stability and fewer demonic beverage tastings than mine. The Devil's Chair is a hulking red brick seat tucked away in the Cassadaga Cemetery, and it's been stirring up ghost stories since the late 1800s. And no, it's not some infernal throne where Lucifer conducts board meetings about traffic on I-4. Though, honestly, if hell had a Florida branch office, that'd be the place. So here's the deal. This Devil's Chair looks like an innocent cemetery bench, right? Something your grandma might sit on while complaining about how expensive flowers are. But according to local legend, if you sit on that thing at midnight, the devil himself might plop down next to you for a little chat. Maybe he compliments your outfit. Maybe he offers you a tempting deal. Or maybe he just complains about how hard it is to find a decent soul these days. And it gets better. There's this famous story that if you leave an unopened can of beer on the chair overnight, it'll be mysteriously empty by morning, but still sealed. Now, skeptics say this is a prank or evaporation. I say the devil's just a fan of cheap Florida beer and knows how to party responsibly. I mean, if I had to spend eternity roasting souls in eternal fire, I'd crack open a cold one too. So I don't know which chair is which, because there's two, and they look the same, and they're both from the Thatcher family, and they both have stuff on them. So I think this is the one that most people consider the Devil's Chair, and there's beer and stuff on there. It could very well be the other one, but I'm going to go with this one because this is the one most people take pictures with. So by comparison, this is the other one, which is just a few feet from the other chair. Like I said, I don't know which is which because they look the same, but here you go. Here's the truth that kills the fun. The Devil's Chair wasn't built by Beelzebub's bricklayer. No. Turns out it was made by a grieving man in the 1920s who lost his wife. He built the chair so he could sit beside her grave because he had arthritis and couldn't stand long. That's right. The Devil's Throne of Darkness was basically an early model lazy boy for mourners. Now, of course, because this is Florida, the legend spiraled wildly out of control. People started claiming they saw shadowy figures, heard whispers, or felt something sit down beside them. Maybe it was the devil. Maybe it was just Florida humidity sitting on your chest. Hard to say. And while the legends grew, the cemetery itself has seen better days. Many of the old gravestones, some from the 1800s, have been tipped over by vandals. So, when you go ghost hunting out there, be careful where you step. You might trip over a 100-year-old headstone. Or worse, accidentally sit on the wrong grave and start a conversation you didn't plan on. So I am not sure if this is someone that dug out or if something lives in there. But either way, I think I'll move on. Also, fun fact, due to terrible old record keeping, no one actually knows exactly who's buried where. Some folks might be resting in two different places at once, which, let's be honest, is the only way to survive a Florida summer. If you're planning to visit, remember, the cemetery closes at dusk, and they actually post guards around Halloween to keep out thrill seekers. Apparently, too many people want to spend their midnight cuddles with Satan. So maybe just stick to the daylight tour. Unless you enjoy explaining to law enforcement why you were sharing a beer with the Prince of Darkness. And if you do decide to sit in the devil's chair at midnight, make sure you bring a friend, a flashlight, and a six-pack. Because if you're going to get tempted by evil, you might as well make it a social event. That's all for today's dive into the strange and spooky Cassadaga Cemetery. If you enjoyed hanging out in Florida's weirdest resting place, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Tell me what you'd ask the devil if he showed up beside you in a chair. So thanks for watching, my friends. Stay weird, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.
Wacky world, where the ultimate hunts where your childhood dreams get punched by the evil. He's got news and some flair with sarcasm so sharp it'll blind